second episode of fyTalks. Hope you all are doing good. Team Foodemy loves to share knowledge and help you all in every possible way we can. Hence, to take a step further, we have started fyTalks so that we can help you better by giving you first-hand information and guidance directly from the experts so that you can learn from their experiences, clear your doubts regarding your career choices, and of course, get inspired by them. Today we have with us a very special guest, Mr. Muhammad Salman Chukkan, who did his BTech in Food Process Engineering from Indian Institute of Food Processing Technology, Thanjavur, which is now known as NIFTM Thanjavur. He further did his M.Tech in Food Engineering and Technology from Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai, which is ICT Mumbai, and he is currently working as a technical officer in Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, Ahmedabad. He was also associated with Thinking Folks, which is a R&D consultancy organization, as a development associate. We would also like to tell the audience that the current recruitment drive of FSSAI is going on, and Salman will also be sharing some tips for the preparation for the CB2 FSSAI examination at the end of the episode. So stick till the end. So, hi Salman, how are you?
Hi ma'am, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm also good, Salman. Thank you. So, Salman, the first thing that I would like to ask you is what drew your interest in food technology? So, what I mean basically, we are aware that food technology is not as mainstream as MBBS or maybe the conventional engineering degree. So, what drew your interest to food technology such that you decided to pursue your entire career in food technology?
All thanks to my father. So my father was indirectly responsible for me to select this particular career option. Earlier we had a habit of watching documentaries when we sometimes we get times. So our favorite documentary was this Canadian documentary series, How It's Made. So one fine day, the episode aired regarding this industrial soy sauce production, which had made some sort of curiosity in me. And then I started some sort of internet based research on this thing, and I then landed up to agriculture engineering, agriculture science, and agriculture processing. But then further research, I came to know that there is something called as food technology or food processing engineering. And then uh, yeah, and I would like to also thank my teacher, Mr. Mohammed Shanveer, who helped me to select the best elite institutes in the sector.
Okay, that's very interesting to hear. Even, I can relate. Even as a child, I had a lot of interest, especially in watching that food factory program that used to come. So I was also very fascinated by that. So, okay. So that's how you got motivated and then you went on to pursue your BTech. So, can you share with us your BTech? How was your BTech journey?
Okay, so my BTech journey was a kind of roller coaster ride for me because it was very difficult for like a person who is very below average or average guy throughout schooling, and then an underconfident guy coming to a group of people who are very ambitious, very competitive in nature. So it was very difficult for me for the initial 2 years. It was very difficult in the sense that I was not able to cope up with my classmates. So it took around 2 years with all my helps my friend from my friends. Then I would like to quote a proverb in Malayalam. If it's roughly translated to English, it goes like, if you're playing with dogs, you get up with fleas. So what does this suggest is that it's not about you, it's all about situation and condition where you're put into. So I am actually thankful to all my friends and that group of people who are very ambitious and super competitive, and that's why I also became something like them. And right now,
I think Salman, what you have mentioned here is completely correct and something which we often forget that how much the environment and the company actually matters. If we are around ambitious people, you have said correct, we also get motivated. So the company also really, really matters. So, Salman, next, one question I had in my mind is, people generally go for a BTech degree because it's a professional degree, and you can directly go for a job. Generally, people have this in mind, we can directly go for a job after this. However, you did your M.Tech from ICT Mumbai, which is a very reputed institute after your B.Tech. So what was the driving force? So what motivated you to go for a M.Tech instead of a B.Tech, instead of doing job after your B.Tech?
So it's a very interesting question, ma'am. Like in the first 2 years, I was just a typical Malayali student who had the typical mindset of going to abroad for a job after my bachelor. So because it's the super common norm in my hometown and my area, even my relatives. So initially, I was only known that for food technologies there is I felt that there is only production quality and food safety. But I was so fortunate that in the first year I got a small opportunity to get a small sort of internship with small firm in my hometown, like an ice cream firm. So I was the only food technology or technical guy there. I was not qualified, but still, only person with technical thing. And the owner was some sort of visionary, so he tried to give me an project wherein which I was supposed to do the cost reduction of the formulation. So even though it was very difficult for me because I was not so strong with the chemistry or technical part, somehow we managed to do this project, and we could achieve 30% of cost reduction. But this particular experience actually helped me to get a perspective of R&D, and then I came to know that R&D is my cup of tea. And after I spoke to some of my seniors and some of the people, industrial people, they suggested me to go for a master's, that too from reputed brands. So that's why I focused on my studies, gate studies in third year, and I started preparing in my third year. And fortunately, gate went well, and then I joined ICT Mumbai.
Okay, that's really interesting to hear. Like as you said, what I understand from it, more you experience, you understand your interest. Like you
Yes.
understood that R&D is what you want to do, and M.Tech is the need for that. So identifying your interest is, I think, very very important, especially in the B.Tech level. So, Salman, after that, you also worked with the Thinking Folks, which is a R&D consultancy organization as a development associate. So, how would you describe, your learnings from that role?
I think that was the by far largest, biggest transition period for me, because coming directly from college to the industry is very difficult, because in college we get the theoretical aspect, and but in the real life aspect, we need to apply all sort of the theoretical knowledge to something useful, or to some to solve the problems. So it was a challenge for me, because I because we don't know in campus how it happens, but over time I figured it out. And as a development associate, I was responsible for building the dream products for different brands or different clients. I was so fortunate that I got better good opportunity to work with some big shots like Dole, DSM, and Amazon. And throughout that brief six months of period, I was able to channelize my interest into regulatory science and innovative thinking practices. So that is something which I enjoyed there.
Okay, so now coming on to your current job role in FSSAI. So when you got selected in FSSAI, like what I feel, it must have been a turmoil of emotions for you. So how would you describe that feeling or that moment?
Yes, it was very magical for me, because I have went through to all the extents during my preparation for this thing, because both the exams collided with one of the most busiest schedule of my life. Like in the CBT one, I was interning with Mondelez International, wherein I was taking care of all the six different R&D projects altogether. And then I came to then after the CBT. I was like while I was working in TK Fox, I was having a very busy schedule there because of this COVID. A lot of employees were getting affected, so I was taking care of majority of the projects as well. So yes, it was very emotional and magical for me. I still remember that the day when the result came, I was there in the ICT campus. Doing my final works of my project. So I was doing this microbial inoculation of 300 plates. So I was inside the inoculation chamber, and I got a call from my friend, and she just called up me and said congratulated me. So I was not actually in the sense. Actually, I was very focused on that microbial plating. I just wanted to finish that as soon as possible. So I just took the phone and said, yeah, thank you, and I just cut the call, went back to the inoculation chamber, and then I came into my sense, and then went back and called her, and I asked why you congratulated. Then she said, yaar tumhara naam hai list mein, dekho jaake. Then it was super emotional, and started. I was super happy and informed my parents as well.
Okay. So yes, Salman, I can relate from your answer only that how it must have been for you. So happy, especially after the hard work you put in. I think it the joy of getting that doubles. You're just super excited. So now, Salman, I think it's been 1.5 years that you're already working as a technical officer in FSSAI. So how would you describe your role and responsibilities in the current job?
Okay, so I actually enjoy my job here in FSA, being a technical officer, for basically two main reasons. First of all, as a technical officer, especially in the licensing division, we are getting a lot of things to learn because we go through different sort of products, and so we are very familiar with all regulatory requirements of all different categories. Second is this thing is that be it in licensing or import or any other place of placement, you know you're always helping a lot of FBOs, or we are guiding a lot of FBOs. So that's why it helps us to get a good feeling. Now the job profile of a technical officer can be roughly classified into three. So it can be licensing, import, and HQ. So in licensing, what happens generally happens is that we take care of this food license applications. We scrutinize that. If it comes in the high risk category, we go for this inspection. And if there is some sort of inspection, like pre-license inspection, if there is some sort of inspection, we give them improvement notices, and then try to understand them why it is important to comply with regulation, and so on and so forth. Similarly, in import, what happens is that we have 21 import points across India, where inspection of the technical officers act as inspection officer. They initially scrutinize the application and then go visually inspect the product based on all the put forward regulatory requirements for any imported products. And they also interact with the FBOs and guide them as well. In HQ, the kind of work is quite different. They are much more focused on policy development or standard development. So their work is in the other spectrum. But be it placed anywhere, we also, all the technical officers or even CFOs also are very much engaged in training FBOs. So we also train FBOs. We sometimes engage with the general public, and other stakeholders as well.
So, Salman, that was really, really fascinating and interesting to know that, because all we hear or know is that he or she is working as a technical officer. We are not aware that, this involves so much of things behind. So basically, I think you got to learn everything from licensing to inspection to maybe import, export, how these things work, as well as giving training, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's really I think it's really a huge job role.
Yes.
So, Salman, how would you also describe the differences in both the job roles? Like what I mean is, initially you were working in as in the R&D division in the private firm, and now you're working in a government firm in a completely opposite job role, I would say. So what kind of differences do you feel, and how would you describe the differences between both of them?
Okay, so according to me, what I feel is that the two major difference is that the intensity of accountability and responsibility is higher in the government job, because we are public servants, so we are bound to answer for each and every question. Um, that's one aspect. So it initially it was very difficult for me, because in private, we are tend to solve the problem. We are never bothered about the path we are selecting. But in the government setup, it's structured actually. It's very much structured. It's one way good, because it gives accountability in every sense. So someone from private setup, it will be very difficult, and especially in private sectors, the hierarchy is not a big deal. uh, the culture is different, but in government sector, hierarchy is a very big deal. So that's the difference what I feel. But regarding the work pressure, what I feel is that I don't feel any change, because I am having the same amount of pressure uh, here. And it's maybe due to the bigger, because where I'm being placed, we are dealing with the biggest, one of the biggest jurisdiction in India after Maharashtra. We have a lot of FBOs. We are dealing with a lot of FBOs, so maybe that's the reason why we are facing the pressure. But this is the reality, that when we look out from outside, sometimes we feel that government employees, matlab, they are free, but it doesn't it's not in that way. It depends upon the situations as well.
Yes, yes, I think correct, because many times we have this in mind that maybe a government job is less hectic, or you have less work, but in reality, actually, things are not like as they appear. So, I will like to tell our audience over here that, Salman is also a very active member of various international and national associations. To name a few, I would say Global Harmonization Initiative and Asia Regulatory Professional Associations. Also, Salman, I've heard that, you're constantly learning new things, and, you're updating yourself. Even from, people from ICT who know you, I get to hear this about you, that, you were always interested in learning new things. So, what basically keeps you so constant and so motivated for constantly learning and updating yourself?
Okay, ma'am. I feel that's because of three things what I feel. So the first thing is involving with this sort of organization, be it domestic or international organizations. It actually opens up your connections or networks. So I strongly believe in this quote, the powerful quote called saying that network is the net worth of a person. So it's very important, because it actually defines my personal brand one way. Second thing, uh, i- having such a close or good network is essentially helping me to grow better, both in my work and as a person as well. Because recently, for an example, through these sort of organizations, I met one of my mentor who's working as a regulatory professional in the private sector. So he's the one who actually guiding me to know what's the proper channel to learn the regulatory affairs in the proper way. So that's one of the thing. And it also, being in FSSAI, especially being in Gujarat, what we are dealing with a lot of nutraceutical products. So learning all these other regulations or other subjects essentially helping me to deliver or perform my duties efficiently, and also take better decisions.
Correct. I think what you have mentioned here is really important. Having a strong alumni and building your network definitely, opens much more paths for us which we are not even aware. Right? Even I agree with this. Personally, I have seen people being benefited from it as well. So, Salman, next I would like to ask you, what was the strategy for preparation for the FSSAI exam, and what study materials did you use for the preparation? I think a huge audience will be interested in knowing this.
Okay, so my strategy was very simple and straightforward. So what I initially did was I firstly went to the syllabus and tried to understand what exactly the syllabus is, and I actually tried to classify that syllabus into according to my level of understanding into different uh, categories. So I started prioritizing these topics which I don't know anything, so it put a lot of effort to understand those topics, and then accordingly. And the another aspect, another strategy what I feel is that we should only learn from the standard reference books, because most often people, because of lack of time, they just go to some random Google websites, and which ultimately they may learn the wrong thing. So recently one of my friend, she was just trying to study for this examination, and she was just randomly googling, and she went into a website wherein which the concept of the effect of saturated fat and unsaturated fat was given as ulta. So that's very dangerous for while preparing such a competitive examination. Another important aspect what everyone should practice is that to make a detailed note, and along with that also prepare a short note, because this short note essentially helps us to helps us while we are preparing, or at least for the revision it will help in a in every sense. And next aspect is that consistent revision is very important, so that it will gel in our mind. And it's very important that we should never compare ourselves with others, because our ability is never the same as other guys. So comparison will just reduce our morale, and it's going to become a destructive force in our preparation. And it's very important to practice well. So taking up some mock tests is very effective. And also I think people should look for some um, answer planning strategies. So my situation was like, for mains I tried to complete every 1 mark I complete to I tried to complete it within 1.2 minutes. So that was my plan. So it may vary for each other. And also time management should be taken care, how effectively you are managing. Now, speaking about the materials which I go, standard materials which I referred for food microbiology, I use phrases. For food chemistry, I've gone with Phenema. For food science, I used Potter's textbook. For nutrition science, I used Sri Lakshmi's book. And for the food additives part, I went through a book called The Chemistry of Food Additives and Preservatives by Titus. And for food packaging, I used textbook of Robert Gordon, and also FSSAI website.
Okay. So I think Salman, you have mentioned some really, really important points over here, that, being updated with the FSSAI website is really, really important when it comes to
Right.
giving the FSSAI examination. And, all the tips that you have shared for, the preparation, I think it is valid for all the competitive exams, right?
True.
Time management, note making, what you learn from your notes, I feel, you are not able to learn from anywhere else.
Yes.
And I think they're very helpful for end moment crisp revision, just before examination, going through your own handwriting and what you have written is just, it just fixes in your mind. So all of the tips, mock test preparation and everything, I think it works equally well for gate and all other examination, right? Okay. So, Salman, this year, there is a change in the pattern of the examination. I think it's an objective test this year in the form of CBT2 for the final recruitment. So, what do you feel about this change? Do you think it's going to make the process more easier, more tougher? And what kind of, what are your views and what kind of tips would you like to give to the candidates for the preparation of examination?
I personally believe that this sort of CBT2 will make this examination much more fairer, because long answer examination is very difficult for those who are working, and also people with bad handwriting. It's going to be very difficult, and also for those group of people who know the subject or know the topic but don't know how to put it out effectively. So that was very difficult. But now I think FSSAI bringing CBT2 is making the battle fairer, and also this it will be easy for the FSSAI also to evaluate. It will be straightforward. The evaluation will be straightforward. Regarding tips, what I feel is that some of my friends made mistake last time. What happened is that they traveled across the across for like 12 hours, and then they directly came to the examination. That's a big mistake. Never approach any examination like that. And also any exam should be approached calmly. And most often what happens is that people, especially in the CBT kind of or MCQ kind of questions, people tend to waste a lot of time if they don't know. So never waste the time, and also never attend if any particular question is not very sure about.
Yes, I think what all you have mentioned is completely correct. As you know, we already said that time management is very, very important, and few other things which you mentioned, I think it's something we often forget or skip. Ke, just before exam, a good sleep, perfect rest, everything, long traveling, everything is very important to have. I think a calm mind while writing your examination, it really, really helps you. So, Salman, next question I would like to ask you. There is a constant change in the food sector, especially in a country, developing country like India, I would say. So, how do you think the regulatory bodies, such as FSSAI, will play a role in this?
Okay, so Indian food industry has been going through a drastic change since last maybe 7 or 6 years, 6 or 7 years, and also it's very important. It's noteworthy to note that Indian food industry is very very well dominated by the unorganized players. So this does point out to one factor that. It's not easy to formulate some sort of regulation or policies when you have a lot of unorganized players. So, for example, if you are taking some countries like UK or US or even GCC countries, all the food industries are, it's in the organized sector. Only maybe less than 5% is in the unorganized sector. For them, it's very straightforward. Putting out regulation is very straightforward. For here in India, we should also look into the economy or economical impact of each and every um, regulations or policies. So I believe that FSA and any other organization is doing their best to achieve their mandates. And it's also important to note that we are all like as India as a country, India as a country, we are an important signatory in a lot of agreements across the globe. So be it codex agreements or any other agreement. So it's noteworthy to understand that any regulation what we are making here is also having going to have a global impact, right? So it nowadays the policy making, it doesn't happen in a domestic way. It should be communicated to other international stakeholders, and we should receive the comment from them. And if we don't have enough data to suggest our policy, we can't go ahead, because the stake we are as I said before, we are the signatories of a lot of agreements, right? So what I'm trying to say is that all the regulatory bodies are doing their best. So yeah, it's a slow process, but we are seeing that FSA has grown immensely in the last 10 years, and hopefully we go through even like in another sense, when we look like in FSA, FSA's approach is kind of corporate approach. We are being always reviewed. Our activities is reviewed at HQ level, RO level, and branch office level. So we are given targets. So it's better compared to last 10 years. It's getting better.
Yes, even I will like to add here, even I think, yes, what you have said is correct. There are steps being taken, but it's a real slow process. From outside, we don't know that, there are so many things involved. As you said, we need to align with the international bodies also, we need to consider what is happening there. And everything which is applicable there cannot be put directly in a country like India where we are largely unorganized. But I also see there are many small steps being taken, like we have recently come up with this front of the pack labeling, right? We have started doing that. So I have observed that on a few packets already. So I think, yes, what you said is correct. The change is coming, but definitely it is slow, right?
In this when you speak about front of pack labeling, it's also it's actually when we look critically, it's unfair to this organized sector, because Organized sector is always is also complying with the regulation in all the major aspects. But in our unorganized sector, it's not possible for implementation this front of pack labeling. So, but hopefully we will find a way to incorporate a front of pack labeling for an unorganized sector as well. Hopefully, yeah.
Yes. So, Salman, as we approach the end, so let's have a quick rapid fire round. So, what is one thing that you miss about Niftum Thanjavur?
I miss my friends and I also miss the big temple because big temple was my favorite place where I used to go and relax.
Okay. And one thing you miss about ICT Mumbai?
I miss Munna Uncle's chai and also productive myself
I
because
was expecting this answer. That is also my favorite place to have tea. Okay. So, what is one thing that you are loving about FSSAI?
I love about FSA the thing which I love about FSA is that I get an opportunity to learn a lot of new stuff because when I look to myself that I have gained a lot of knowledge compared to last year, 1 year ago, and I get a lot of opportunity to mentor a lot of people, and that gives a sense of happiness to me.
I guess, especially in the training part where you mentioned,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
true.
So, if not food technologist, what would you have been?
Let me be frank, I don't have any idea because I made up my mind to become a food technologist, but I think by 8th standard or something. So I don't know what I would have been.
Okay. So, what is the advice that you would like to give to the budding food technologists out there?
I think everyone should dream big. So the benefit of dreaming big is at least you will get something. Second thing is that work hard for your dreams, be persistent, and also utilize the full potential of networking by LinkedIn or any other source. Try to utilize LinkedIn because LinkedIn is a beautiful platform to leverage our brand and try to share knowledge to others. So that will certainly help the individual as well.
Yes, sharing knowledge, I feel, increases your own knowledge as well. And we don't even realize that we are learning more.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Salman, really thank you for being there on this show. It was really great having you for the second episode of fyTalks. And Foodemy team wishes you a really good luck for your future. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Team Foodemy, for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for watching. We hope it was an informative session for you all. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And in case you have any queries or doubts, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below. We would be happy to help you. Stay tuned for many more upcoming videos from Foodemy. Thank you.